Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Functions are the backbone of any programming language, and in JavaScript, they play an even more crucial role because functions are treated as first class citizens. This means you can store them in variables, pass them as arguments, and even return them from other functions. Whether you are building small scripts or large scale web applications, functions help you organize your code, avoid repetition, and make it more readable and maintainable code. They allow you to bundle logic into reusable blocks, making your programs more efficient and clean. In JavaScript, there are different ways to define the functions, such as function declarations, function expressions, and arrow functions. Each has its own syntax, use cases, and unique behaviors, especially when it comes to hosting and the this keyword. Understanding these type of functions is essential for mastering JavaScript development. Whether you are building dynamic websites, Node.js backends, or learning advanced frameworks like React, AngularJS, in this video, we will explore these function types deeply to strengthen your programming foundations. So let's get started. In JavaScript, a function declaration is most common way to define a function. It starts with a function keyword followed by the function name, a pair of parentheses for receiving the parameters, and a block of code wrapped in curly braces. So first of all, we will write the function keyword, function, and then we will write the name of the function. So in our case, I can write a function name. Its name will be greet, and after that we will write parentheses and then curly braces. So this is a common way to declare a function. So inside parentheses, we can receive parameters. If we have only one parameter, we can write its name. And if we have multiple parameters, we use comma for the separation of every parameter. So if we have multiple parameters, we write comma B, comma C, so on. So for now, we don't have any parameters. So we just create a simple function, and inside simple function and inside function, I will write console.log and I write here hello JavaScript function. Okay, so this is how we can define a function using function declarations. If I want to call this function, I write its function name and then parentheses. So this is the method how we can call function. So now if I save the file, so if I run the file using node, and what is the name of our file? Functions.js. So you see hello.js function will be printed. So this is coming from the function that we declared. One more important thing about the function declaration is hosting. In JavaScript, function declarations are hosted to the top of their scope. It means that we can call a function even before we define it in our code. For example, in our case, we create a function greet. So what if I call this function before its declaration? So if I call this function above its declaration, so here I write function name, and now I am calling this function. So as you see, even though we called greet function before defining it, it still works because JavaScript moves the function declaration to the top during execution. If I save the file and if I run the file, so this will be fine. So now in this case, this function will also be printed console.log. So if I run the file again, and you see, again we are getting hello.js function. Again, our string will be printed in the console. So it is completely okay that we can call function before, and after that we can define the function. So this method, which is a function declarations, this method is ideal when we want to define reusable logic that can be called anywhere in the scope, either after the function declaration or either before the function declaration. They provide better readability and structure to our code, especially when in the large projects. The next one is function expression. In JavaScript, a function expression is another way to define a function. So in this method, instead of declaring a function directly, what we do, we create it as a part of an expression and then assign it to a variable. So how to declare a function by using function expression? In this method, what we do, first of all, we create a function and then parentheses and then curly braces. So in this method, first we create a function without a name and then assign this function to a variable. So if I create a variable here, Now I create a variable greet and assign this function, which is without name, assign this function to this variable. If I write here console.log and I write hello JavaScript. So now this function and the function that we created above by using the function declaration, this function, they both are same in functionality. They both are same. But the difference is here we declare directly by using function declaration, but here in this method we create an anonymous function and then assigning this function to a variable which is greet. So how to call this function? Same as before, like greet and then parentheses. So if we declare a function by using the function expression, so the calling method will be remain the same. So we call it same as we call the normal function. So if I save it, if I run the file, so you see hello.js printed. Whatever we write here, that will be printed in the console. This is the second way that how we define a function. So when we create a function using function expression, we can also receive parameters inside the parentheses. Unlike function declarations, function expressions are not hosted. This means that we cannot call the function before it is defined in our code. For example, if I call this greet function before its declaration, so if I remove from here and I call it here, so now this will throw an error. Why? Because greet function is defined as a function expression and it is not hosted like function declarations. So if I save the file and if I run the file, so we will see an error. So here you see reference error, cannot access greet before initialization. So it is saying that you are calling a function greet, but you are declaring the function later. So when we are using function expression, it is not allowed that we can create function here and we call it before its initialization. Function expressions are very useful when we want to define functions conditionally or whenever we want to pass the function as an arguments to the other function. They are also widely used in the JavaScript for callbacks, for event handlers and anonymous functions in modern frameworks. The next one is arrow functions. Arrow functions were introduced in ES6 and it provides a shorter, cleaner and a very clear syntax to write functions in JavaScript. So in this method, instead of using the traditional function keyword, we use the arrow symbol to declare the function. So how to create the function using arrow function? So for this, we write here function name. So this is a function name. And after that, we write equal and then we write parentheses. After parentheses, we write equal sign and then greater sign. So this will create an arrow. And after that, curly braces. So this is how we define arrow function. So inside curly braces, we write our code. So here I just simple write hello JavaScript. This is same function that we declared before by using other two methods, the better function declaration and the function expression. So this is same function. So if I call this function, so I write greet and then call it. So now by calling this function, this will print the string in the console. So if I save the function and if I run the file, so you see hello.js will be printed. Arrow functions are mostly used when we want concise function syntax, especially for small operations or when using the function as an argument in methods like map, filter or reduce. We will cover them later. And that's all for this video. We see that how we can define function by using function declaration, function expression, and the modern arrow functions. Each has its own strengths and use cases, and understanding them will make your code cleaner, more efficient, and easier to maintain. If you found this video helpful and you learned something new, give this a video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel to grow. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss future coding tips and tutorials. And if you have any question or any ideas for the next topic, drop the comment in the below. I will see you in the next video. Until then, keep coding and keep growing.